I love Bob Dylan. I talk about him so much in my videos that I thought I might as well make a video on him. And hopefully, when I do that, I will stop talking about him in my future videos. I doubt that'll happen, but we'll see. Bob Dylan is an artist from the Midwest that moved to New York at a young age to try and make a music career. He started out doing covers for different folk artists' music and turned into him making his own music and then blew up from there. But what really elevated his music career was one year at the Newport Folk Festival when he decided he didn't want to play folk music no more. And so he decided that he was gonna use electric guitars, drums, and do what he wanted to do. The crowd was outraged and he was eventually booed off stage, came back for one song, and left. Which at the time, people thought that was going to be the end of his career. They thought that he was only going to be a folk singer, and he stopped making folk music, so therefore his career was over. But it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to him. Because right after that happened, he released an album called Highway 61 Revisited. Now, this album had elements of folk music, but for the most part, it was a little bit of rock, a little bit of his own twist on folk rock music, and it inspired and influenced a lot of the music for the next few decades. Many songs on this album have been covered many times by a lot of very influential artists, such as the Rolling Stones, Neil Young, Jimi Hendrix, Grateful Dead. Many artists have covered songs from this album, and that just goes to show how influential this album was. That all these amazing bands and artists heard that album and were like, I need I need to do something with this song. And I truly believe there will never be another album like Highway 61. Every song has something unique to offer, and they were all written and sang from a truly heartfelt and genuine place. Like each song has meaning behind it, each lyric has meaning behind it. Every single song and lyric on this album has so much meaning to Bob Dylan and to life itself. Bob Dylan's legacy has been captured in many books that have been written about him, as well as a movie that came out recently starring Timothy Chalamet called A Complete Unknown. This movie is truly one of the things that got me into Bob Dylan, and I've been listening to him ever since, and I regret not one second of it. The movie takes you through the early Bob Dylan in his music career when he came to New York and got help by Pete Seeger and eventually started his music career. I love Bob Dylan so much, I considered smoking cigarettes just 'cause he made it look so cool. I won't, but I considered it. Now, Bob Dylan never really wanted all the fame that came with being a famous musician. Obviously, he got the fame, but he never really embraced it. He never really loved big fancy parties, never really loved fancy cars, fancy clothing. He wore what he wanted to wear and didn't really care what anybody else thought about it. One of the things that makes Bob Dylan a really unique individual is the fact that he doesn't care what people think when he plays his music. He's been going on tour for the last few years now, and every concert he plays, he doesn't play what the people want him to play. He plays what he wants to play. He plays what he thinks is his best music, and he plays what he feels like he should. This is very different to almost every other artist on the planet. They play their popular songs because that's what the people want to hear. He doesn't care what they want to hear. He plays what he wants to play. And a lot of people don't like this, and that's fine. I don't really have an opinion on it because he's an artist. He can do whatever he wants. Like, when you have that much power and influence, you can do what you want. I understand both sides of why people like and dislike why he does this. On one hand, I understand you want to hear the songs that you like, which are most likely the more popular ones, which is fine. Like a Rolling Stone is his one of his most popular songs, one of his most recognizable songs. Knockin' on Heaven's Door is another one, and Hurricane are his three biggest songs. And he never plays them at his concerts. And those are the songs that people want to hear. And when you don't hear them, you might be discouraged for going because you want to see the artist. Of course, you want to see Bob Dylan. But if you don't hear the songs you want to hear, you're not necessarily going to have the best time. So I understand not wanting to go to a concert to someone you know isn't going to play the music you want. But on the other hand, you're seeing Bob Dylan and you're seeing him play music. It might not be the music you want to hear, but it's the music he wants to play. And people are still going to come and see him because of that. Because he's Bob Dylan, because he makes good music, and because they love him. Bob Dylan doesn't care about your feelings. If you want to listen to the music that you want to listen to, don't come to his concert. Just listen to what you want on your own. But if you want to genuinely have an experience where you see Bob Dylan in person, listen to the music that he is playing because that's what you're going to get. It's unfortunate, but it's working for him. I mean, he continues to sell out arenas because people love him and the influence he had is amazing. He paved the way for the next generation of folk rock artists. Like, he is the folk rock artist. There is no other Bob Dylan person, type of person in the music industry. It's just him. And I would say that even if you don't necessarily like folk rock, listen to his music because there is something for everybody. There's more rock heavy songs, there's more folk heavy songs. At the beginning of his career, he was just a folk artist. He made folk music and really good folk music at that. But later on, after Highway 61 came out, he started shifting to folk rock, which, in my opinion, is a good move for him. And obviously, it worked because it rose him to stardom. And one of the last things I'll say about Bob Dylan, and one of the reasons I love Bob Dylan so much, is because he doesn't make music for his fans, which sounds awful, but he doesn't make music for other people. He makes music for himself with genuine feeling and meaning behind every lyric and every song, and everything has a point. Every single line has feelings behind it, every single line has thought behind it. Everything he's saying is genuine and real, and he is feeling that. He's feeling all the emotion that he's talking about. He's had all the experiences that he's talking about. And there's always one song that you can go to, no matter what feeling you're feeling, and you can relate to it. It's something that a lot of artists don't do, that he can have all these songs that relate to so many different things and so many different places and people, but it's just one artist. Most artists make one type of music about one certain thing, and they talk about that one thing throughout their entire music career. Bob Dylan's a little different. He just does what he wants and says F you to the industry and doesn't care what other people think about his music because as long as he's making music he likes, he doesn't care. He doesn't care how many albums he sells. He doesn't care what his fans think. He doesn't care what other people think, most definitely. He just loves music. He loves what he's doing. And he really doesn't go out much. Like, other than his concerts, he pretty much just lives a secluded life. He doesn't do any interviews. He doesn't go on any TV shows, anything like that. He just is a normal human being, which is really refreshing when it comes to the fans because he's just like us. He just does what he wants, loves what he loves, and doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He also has a certain swag about him. I mean, look at that dude. You cannot tell me that's not a cool freaking dude. So that's why I love Bob Dylan. That's why he's one of my favorite artists, and that's why I love his music. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you would like, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.